All right. I think we're rolling. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You might be hearing a little bit of Pokemon stuff in the background. Heather's over there playing the DLC for the Pokemon game. I think it's Crown Tundra. So you might... In the first take of this, now you know there's a second take. I kept hearing like door slamming outside. That was fun. I was initially just hearing like little twinkly snowy sounds, which kind of fit nice with the little holiday spirit around here. Got the Christmas tree, a little bit of lights over there, and a little twinkling and stuff. But now I'm basically hearing little fanfares every time she finds some footprints on the ground and a few battle themes and picking up items. So if you hear that in the background, that's what that is. Not some ambience that I'm trying to do for these things. But yeah. Let's see, just chatting today to kind of talk about. I guess I was thinking a little bit maybe about going back to what I was talking about yesterday. But I might save that one for a little bit later. Just some additional thoughts I was having there. But maybe a little bit more relevant, even. Is I've been thinking a bit about like video content and not like these kinds of things. Like this one's just really freeform, almost rambly at times, just talking about ideas and practicing just talking to you or a camera from my perspective, but you in your perspective. But things that are actually a lot more constructed, structured, as the case may be, where if I'm trying to change or convey a thought or describe something, what could I be doing to do that? So today I started thinking a lot about like, what are the steps, what are the things that I need to do to be able to do that successfully or effectively? And I think for the longest time while I was thinking about this, because making videos was something I always wanted to do with the stuff that I've been making. Again, for Prismatic Planet, the website I currently write a lot of like environmental education stuff for. And that's just a lot of talking about Earth systems, basic ecology concepts, different types of biomes and ecosystems across the Earth. And then a few posts, one at the end of every month, talking at some length about some intersection between humanity and nature, how we interact with it today, and how we've historically interacted with it, and things that we can learn from either of those. But all of that content has been written in a way that's as if someone were speaking, as if someone were saying it to somebody. It's not a very traditional blog. It's I guess a lot of blogging is more story driven these days. But it fits more that bill, where somebody would be speaking it, or it would be the baseline for something that someone would say. So since I have time right now going into the end of the year, I know I wanted to spend time like going over like how to go about making something like that. And I was probably thinking a lot harder than what I actually need to do. Like I was thinking it's like, oh, I'm gonna need to like come up with like an artist that I want to work with to put together like very professional looking artwork and animated images and things like that. Getting royalties for working with or playing some sort of music in the background. And I was thinking just ultimately really hard. It all seemed really, really distant from where I'm at, which I never really like that feeling. I don't like when a goal feels way too far away. You don't know what your small step is toward that goal. And today something just kind of clicked. It's like, if I were going to do this just tomorrow, what are the skills that I have that can get me as close to that as possible? It doesn't have to be the final form that this takes, just as long as it's something to get out there. What can I do? And I've been thinking about like what what I either excel at or things that I really enjoy that I feel complement what I do, what the things I do well. And like going over the things, like I'm kind of lucky with the skills that I do have. Maybe it's not lucky. I had to put time into all of them. But I don't have to worry too much about making music per se. It's still work for me, but that's my original degree was in music composition. So I can fairly quickly put together something that's passable. It's not going to be like a film score, but it's going to be at least as good as like the generic free stuff that you can put on YouTube today. So, and I have Fruity Loops Studio, so I'll be able to FL Studio, so I'll be able to put together some stuff pretty easily with that tool. Just coming up with basically 4 or 5 emotions that I want to convey, feelings that I want the viewer to feel at any point in time, or what would go well with whatever's being presented in the video at the time. So like, okay, I can do that pretty easily. I could probably do that in a few hours if I really want to, but I feel like I can give myself a couple days to put stuff like that together, just looping music that can go into that. And then scripts, which are already written, so I don't have to worry about that. The writing I've been doing, practicing for this entire year has been working toward that goal. The main other thing was just the visuals that would go into that. And I have been thinking about what style of video would I like to do that would fit that content. And since it will be kind of describing something, explaining a complex topic, hopefully in easier to understand terms, and ideas, would be like ideally in my mind some type of animated video, but it doesn't have to be there all at once. While I don't particularly think I'm like fantastic at Photoshop or anything like that, I wouldn't want to be working in that. I wouldn't be able to do anything in a reasonable amount of time with that software. One of the things that I am quite good at is just very quickly doodling things. And that's how I work with like a lot of my teams. Just even at work is just whiteboard sessions. And that's just one of the ways that I convey thoughts, is just draw it out. It doesn't have to look amazing, but it gets the point across. And just given how much I've been doing that over the years, like the things that I draw aren't terrible either. So they might actually end up looking somewhat decent. And maybe even give me ideas for like other stuff I might put together in the future. So I had kind of backed off and been like, okay, so I could do this kind of thing where I'm talking in front of a camera. It's just, okay, I'm conveying some thought, being expressive and such as I do, and going between that and potentially animated text, just cards where facts are presented. If I'm quoting anything, that'd probably be a pretty excellent way to do that, or calling out a specific phrase that I want people to walk away with, then that could work okay. And then for anything where I'd like it to be a little more looking more interactive, then being able to draw on a whiteboard, kind of similar to like, that's where like I don't want to like dismiss or think that other channels are doing, like, because they don't really do it as much anymore, but ASAP Science, they do pretty good stuff with that. They don't do it too much anymore. They do a lot of this like live, like you see their faces and they're talking to you, but they still occasionally put in the whiteboard doodles, and that just works like fine for them. That works out great, and it's like very quick and potentially inexpensive to put together, as long as you know kind of what you're wanting to draw ahead of time. There's probably practice that goes into how you're going to do it, but that's a low barrier to entry. If you already have a camera for doing this type of interaction, then setting up that camera to look at your whiteboard and just draw, that's fairly low barrier, not a huge obstacle. You could do that. I could do that. And that's kind of where I was just starting to make a checklist in my mind. I need to write it down so that I can actually do that, but or remember it, hold myself accountable to it, and then just start working at it. And like, it doesn't sound like a lot, it kind of sounded like a lot. It sounded like it's, when I was thinking about this a couple days ago, I was like, there's a lot I need to do. And then just quantifying what that work is and getting a really solid feel for how I could do that myself, I'm able to better understand what needs to go into it, and the goal seems a lot more attainable suddenly. So what's kind of the point of that? When you're working on something, like, definitely don't think you have to be the one to do it all. Like, a lot of that was, like, when I was younger, that was basically my kind of philosophy on working on anything was, why pay someone to do it when you could do it yourself? And that kind of dismisses the amount of work that goes into doing something at a really high level. That if I did do something myself, it's probably not going to be as good a quality as somebody who's spent a good chunk of their life just perfecting, working on, or mastering a skill. If what you're looking for is good quality, then having somebody else do that is fantastic. 2, supporting people who do that kind of work, who went through that kind of training, is also good. It's not saying don't take care of it yourself if you think you can, and that's good enough. But if you have the means to bring in other people who are experts, then showing the world that you value that skill by employing it, by paying for it, is a good thing. Like, that's just a good gesture in general. Granted, everyone's in different places. I definitely don't have the money to go out and just be like, all right, professional art studio, come in and work on my stuff. I'll just, like, storyboard things. But understanding where your skills are, what you can leverage before making that jump, if you want to make that jump, before saying it's like, oh, I want to actually invest in doing this, identifying your skills so you can put it together on your own, and then start swapping out those pieces with higher quality versions of those pieces over time isn't a bad way to do that. Yeah, like, think about, I probably talked about this before, like, small steps to realizing a goal. And this is a little bit of a revisit of that and a little bit of a spin on that. Like, quantify what you're wanting to work on. And it's a good way to sort of recollect what skills you have at your disposal, realize what you can do, and try to create something really good within that limited skill set. Because you just need to face it, all of us don't have unlimited skill sets. At some point, we're doing something at a quality we're not happy with releasing to people or sharing with people. That if you want something to do well or convey a thought really well, it needs to be of a certain quality. And if the skills you're using don't make it, then you find somebody who can help you with that. Or you invest in yourself so that you can do that. But until then, if you can find a way to work within your limitations, then understanding what those limitations are, which is really weird saying that, limitations. I'm really saying the things you're good at. Find the things that you're good at. Try to create something using those skills. See what you can create using just those. And then amplify it. See how you can expand upon that rather than saying that I need this to be perfect on the first take. Like, my first video isn't going to be with all the bells and whistles and my ideal of what it should be, but now I have a decent idea for what's needed, and I can start taking steps to make that a reality. So yeah, in addition to setting reasonable, smaller goals, recount your skills, understand what you can do, what you can't do, and build with that in mind. And I think that's probably about it for today. thanks for stopping by and listening in on probably a little bit of redundancy over time, but yeah, just something I was thinking about today, just as I was going through some stuff, and maybe hearing me kind of spew that out in a few different ways helps somebody else who happens upon this video at some point. So yeah, we'll call it that. I'm not sure if I'll do one of these on Thursday and Friday this week. We'll see. I don't really have a ton going on. It's just Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I'll probably do one on Thursday. I don't know about Friday. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. If I'm not here, you know why. If you watch this. If you haven't watched this, then you don't know why I'm not there. But you'll deal with that. You'll be fine. You'll figure it out. You're all smart people. So, yeah. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And a Wednesday. Potentially Thursday and Friday. Have a happy holidays. And we'll catch you later. See ya.